I tried time and time again to start a Sim series because I love playing The Sims and I love creating drama and making their lives miserable for my amusement. You know how it is. But actually keeping up with editing and uploading Let's Plays didn't work for me, no matter how hard I tried. So I wanted to try something different here. Because I love storytelling in The Sims and I want to have a place to put out all the crazy shit that happens so that I can go back and remember just how chaotic it was. This wasn't something I was planning to do while I was playing with these particular Sims though, so the visuals will be lacking a bit for this one, but for the next gen I will have more videos and screenshots to show you, so if this format of a video is something that interests you, I will be making more in the future whenever I finish playing with the generations. I'm very excited to try this format. This video I'm also using as sort of like a setup for the future video. This is kind of like the backstory in a way, if you will. So this one will be a lot shorter than the other one, since the other one is going to be a whole generation of a challenge summed up into one video. So if you like the format of this video, the second one is going to be even better because it's going to be way more detailed. It's going to have better visuals, and technically you don't have to watch this one to go into the other one, but if you don't watch this one, you would never know where it all started, you know? This is my Sim Allison. She was doing the challenge where you put your Sim in a one-tile box until they have a whole house furnished just from making money while in the box. They can't like go to work or anything to make money. They can only make money from paintings and photo and stuff like that they make, which usually makes them more money anyway than just going to work. So I think she did a pretty good job with that, if I do say so myself. For an additional challenge, every time she'd max a skill, I'd move on to another one and she'll be making money that way. For example, after she was done painting, she started sketching tattoos, and when that was done, she started flower arranging and gemology and so on. So she's maxed a whole bunch of skills now. I think around 17. I counted them once, but then I forgot. So yeah, that's how many skills she's maxed. All of this gained her a bit of fame, but she never cared about it, so she only made it to a rising star, and she's not bothered about keeping her fame at all. She's very artistic and very accomplished Sim. She has a whole bunch of reward traits from completing a bunch of aspirations too, but she's also socially awkward and a loner, so she had an extremely hard time finding a man. She had no friends other than Father Winter, who's just a major creep and approached her as a wealthy weirdo once, but she couldn't make normal friends. So she created a socially awkward loners club where she met Corey, and they became fast friends and they started living together as friends, but the two of them were such loners that they couldn't talk to anyone else, yet their friendship just shot up immediately out of nowhere because they were a perfect match, both super creative and liking all the same stuff. It also made them very attracted to each other, and they kind of started hooking up and dating pretty soon after he moved in. Now, Allison always wanted a child, but it was difficult for them to conceive because Corey's fertility was very low. But with the help of a couple of fertility potions, they ended up having 4 kids and also a cat. But that one was adopted. Don't tell him that, he doesn't know. Corey was the one taking care of the kids in the house. He did the cooking and the cleaning, and he was also a freelance artist. But the main breadwinner was Allison and her million skills and business ventures. Everything was so fun and cute and sweet for them, no drama, apart from getting occasionally harassed by Father Winter. But here's where the drama comes in. Now they had 4 kids, 2 girls and 2 boys, but 2 of them died, so now they only have 1 of each. Michael over here, he kind of just died. He's not really a big part of this. Nothing that dramatic happened to him, but you see, we have Hope and Barbara over here, right? Wrong. This girl was born as Hope and this girl was Barbara. Barbara was the oldest, but her and Hope had a very minuscule age difference of 4 days. Barbara was always a high achiever. She completed so many formative challenges. She was a great student. All the kids were homeschooled, but Barbara was doing a new school project every day, helping with the cooking and the cleaning, and also helping to take care of her baby brothers. She was the perfect child, and although Allison and Corey loved all of their kids the same, it's pretty hard for Barbara to not be their favorite. She took the best qualities of both of them. Everybody loved Barbara. Even the cat, that preferred to hang out alone most of the time, had a special connection to her. She was very determined from a very young age. She knew she wanted to have a bunch of kids and pets and have her own small business and be just like her mom. She'd always get the baby thingy over her head that Sims sometimes get, and she had that small business wand so many times. I didn't pin it because I didn't want her to get a fear from unfulfilled dreams, but she kept getting it. But with her being so seemingly perfect and good at everything, it's natural that resentment started to build up between her and her sister. They used to be best friends, but jealousy started to crawl in. As much as she tried, Hope just wasn't as good at the creative things her parents were good at and seemed to favor. She was a good cook and loved cooking, but her dad and Barbara's thing was already cooking together, and Hope was was always invited, but she didn't want to be invited. She wanted to be the center of attention for once. Hope didn't even have friends outside of the house because of her parents' lifestyle. Even though they had completed this one-tile challenge and they could now leave the lot, they didn't really leave the lot because the house already had everything. They had like a giant basement consisting of 3 stories that had every single thing that a sim could want. So there was never a need to go out. They never went out as family or separately, but that meant that the kids didn't really have any friends outside of the house. The furthest they would go is across the street to play at the little water park. And so she didn't really have anyone or anything of her own that wouldn't also be involved with her sister. She never felt special, and her brothers never understood that, because for a long while, Michael was the only boy, and then the youngest Jamie was only born when the rest were about to go from kids to teens. So she felt alone in the whole world and blamed her sister for it. But one day, she started feeling like she was superior to Barbara in at least one aspect. When they became teens, Hope was gorgeous. She had taken all the stunning features of her mother. Barbara, on the other hand, looked exactly like her father. Hope wasn't mean to her about it, but it gave her something to cling on to, something that made her feel superior to her. As they got older, they kept being homeschooled, but they started venturing out to Copperdale to meet and hang out with other teens. Barbara immediately made a large friend group, with Sydney being her best friend, but she was able to get along with everyone, whereas Hope was more of a loner like her parents. Not entirely, but she was definitely less outgoing than Barbara. Even the meanest kid in town, Malcolm Landgrab, liked Barbara. He liked her more than Hope would like. You see, Hope had a crush on Malcolm for coming from a rich family and being fairly good looking, so she tried to get with him, but he preferred Barbara, and that devastated Hope. She thought she was way better looking than her sister, so shouldn't she get more attention from the boys? But that wasn't the case, and Malcolm and Barbara were so in love that they promised themselves to each other, and she had started to become close with his baby sister because she loved children, so she always played with little Genesis Landgrab, the game generated that name, whenever she would see her. Hope had enough. She was heartbroken, always in her sister's shadow. She wanted her gone forever. So one day, she stole her phone and dumped Malcolm over text. And she started cooking, like she did any other day. Except that the stove caught on fire. She knew Barbara would try to save her, and she did. But Hope pushed her into the flames, and she burned to death. No one suspected a thing. Everybody was in mourning. Even Malcolm, who thought Barbara had dumped him. Hope immediately started making moves. She reintroduced herself to Malcolm, and it was a shoulder for him to cry on in that moment, so they got together pretty quickly after. She joined a cheerleading squad that most of her sister's friends used to be in, and became besties with her former best friend Sydney. She even rose through the ranks and became captain of the team. She took over every part of her sister's life. She even legally changed her name to Barbara and started to be more like her. She became outgoing, family-oriented, and an animal lover like her sister once was. No one even thought that changing her name like that was weird, because she said she owed her life to Barbara and that she was only living now because of her. So she pretended to do it as a way to honor her. It worked so well that her parents started calling their dead daughter Hope and their alive one Barbara. After getting away with killing her sister, the new Barbara set her sights on the Landgrab mansion. She knew what she had to do to get it. She made sure to get pregnant with Malcolm while still being a teen, and he was getting a lot of pressure from his parents to marry her, because having a baby out of wedlock would be a shame to them. Well, Jeffrey didn't care, but you know how Nancy is. But Barbara knew she had to work on Malcolm a little bit more. He was not taking the pregnancy news very well, so even though they had gotten very close at that point, and he was in love with her, he wasn't ready for marriage, despite the pressure from Nancy. So at prom, despite wanting to be prom queen herself, she made sure Malcolm won, and he was ecstatic, of course, loved being celebrated. So at the after party, Barbara proposed to him, using the sky moment for him and saying they don't have to get married till they become adults, and he accepted. Barbara was now engaged to Malcolm Landgrab and moved into his mansion the second she became a young adult with her daughter Bonnie. They're about to get married and she's getting along swimmingly with his family, even trying to mend his broken relationship with Nancy so that he gets a better cut of the inheritance than his little sister. On top of that, she somehow got Nancy to let her remodel the mansion to her liking. There's just one problem. She wants to have a big family too, and Malcolm's having fertility issues. Since her father did too, she tried the fertility potion method time and time again, but it just doesn't seem to work for them. They might not be able to have another child, but she always gets what she wants, so she won't accept defeat. Not after all that she had to do to get here. She's going to get her big family one way or another, even if she has to turn elsewhere for help. Also, Allison and Corey got married in the kitchen right in front of the blender because they don't like to go out. Oh, and also after Barbara/Hope moved out, Allison and Corey got another cat, and Jamie, who is Barbara/Hope's brother, is having a crush on Genesis, Malcolm's sister. I can't promise when the next video of this series will be out because I have to play through a whole generation first, but stay tuned for that because I've planned so much drama and not everything happens the way I plan it, but usually something even more dramatic occurs. So it will be fun either way. It will be the Barbie Legacy Challenge Gen 1. Barbara's gonna be aspiring to complete everything for that gen and create chaos and get away with it. The way this whole drama started was just because when they grew up I wanted Hope to be the heir, even though I had been setting it up to be Barbara. That's why I gave her that name, planning to have her be the heir and like the beginner of the Barbie challenge. I was doing all the formative challenges with her, but Hope was prettier, so I was like, okay, I can either just switch their names and pretend none of this happened, or I can make up some drama around it. And so here we are. If you not only like Sims content, but would enjoy the occasional nostalgic TV show deep dive, this is also the place to go. I'm currently doing Soy Luna, Violetta, and H2O, so it's gonna take a while to cover all of these shows, but if some of that interests you, you might want to subscribe.
Oh. Azbuka Linda. Davidjet.